Welcome back to Area DMG. I'm your host, Wabasi the Mile High Mouth, and for today's episode of Suki Neon, we are reviewing, discussing episode 7 of season 1 of Gravity Falls. This episode is called Double Dipper, and it's the first time we see Pacifica Northwest, and it's also interesting because, I'll get into that in just a minute. What happens in this episode is, in a bid to attract more of a young audience to the Mystery Shack, Stan throws a dance party type thing. And he tells Dipper to go ahead and make some copies of these flyers. And Dipper discovers that the old copying machine in the Mystery Shack can copy humans. So, Dipper is still trying to impress Wendy. And he decides to make clones of himself so he can be in more places, so he can dance with Wendy at this particular thing. At this party, Mabel meets like the best side characters. There's a Grenda who sounds like a man pretty much, and it's funny. And then Candy, who is voiced by, I think, Nikki Yang, who also voices Bimo and Lady Rainicorn in Adventure Time. As well as she's in other stuff too. I've heard her in I think I've heard her in Regular Show and Steven Universe and other stuff. She's got this voice that's very distinct. Pretty much I know her most as Bimo though, because she's using kind of the same voice for Candy in Gravity Falls. And it works because almost everything she says is hilarious. She could be quoting say, "The sorrows of young Goth," or Girth, or however you pronounce that. Gother, yeah. And it would still sound funny because of the way she enunciates things. It's like every time Bimo says something in Adventure Time, it's gold. I'm so glad they even gave Bimo a song in an episode recently. But yeah, Grenda, you meet Candy, you meet Pacifica Northwest, who is important in this series as well. And you get some pretty decent... you get to see Dipper's birthmark on his forehead. It's of the constellation the Dipper. So that's why people call him that. That's not actually his name. And as far as I know, they actually have not told you what Dipper's real name is in the series. They just refer to him as Dipper. There's Dipper and Mabel, but Dipper's a nickname. So, I don't know. It would be really, really funny if Dipper's real name is like Stanley or Stanford or something. That would be nice. My notes are pretty much okay. I do like the part in this one where, Seuss is the one that's DJing it, but where Mabel meets Candy and Grenda for the first time. She's like, "These are my people," which I can feel that sentiment. Whenever I go to some places, I'll go to conventions or whatnot, or I'll run into certain people at stores or whatnot. It's like, oh yeah, these are my people. These are people that get me and understand that. Because we all need to have that. One thing to note about this actually, in this series, Mabel's the one that starts putting together kind of a support group of friends. Not so with Dipper at first, which is kind of an interesting dynamic between the two of them, which will come into play especially a lot in season 2. I thought it was a pretty awesome episode actually. There's this really great thing where the clones are starting to make more copies of themselves to help out with this. The first clone, Dipper names him Tyrone because that's like a name he wanted to be called. And then there's a part there where there's a paper jam version of him that's like, and that's great. It's got a lot of good jokes in this one. I just thought it was a pretty good episode, pretty funny, and you get to see some new characters, which is great. Overall, good episode. If you like this episode, hit that like button. Tell me in the comments below what you thought of this episode. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And until the next episode comes out, you are now caught up.